Top of the morning to you guys. What's going on? Got a little crookedness. So, listen. So I got what? 200 subscribers. Shouldn't 200 subscribers be getting little messages from me saying, "Hey, I just made a new video"? Yeah. I wonder how that works. Well, anyways. We're in chapter 11, and I read the whole thing yesterday. I got it all out and into my brain, and I decided I'm going to go ahead and do a few more of these with you, just to kind of nail the lid on the coffin when it comes down to listening to me talk about the code and how beautiful and informative the code is to us. That that I would like to. I'm going to do this next one. Is 11. All right, the 11 is representing 2. If you put the 1 and 1 together, you get 2. 2 is God's creation, and don't you know what God's creation is? It's you, your brain. All right, the right and the left sides of your brain. Okay, that's what God is. Okay, God's creation. He made us in His image. All right. But unbeknownst to us, we came to this earth short her. We didn't come with her. All right, and so we spend a lot of time trying to fill that spot. And what do we get out of it but the strange woman? This is how it's working out in the story: is that she somehow comes in and takes us on this trip, and she's spending all her time on the top surface of the Bible. She does not allow anybody to go on the inside. This is, the Nazarene way. There'll be no chopping off of the hair. Remember that's representing ourselves. If you want to say, it's a skin, your skin's not allowed in heaven. Well, they also have something about hair. Okay, no hair. Nobody's going to bring their hair up there either, all right? But it becomes a burnt offering, as well as our body becomes this burnt offering, okay? But, so what do you get right off the bat? Here, we'll just minus it down here, and we'll check this out. It says Proverbs 11. Right off the bat, a false balance is abomination to the Lord. But a just weight is His delight. So, it's one side's is a little heavy. The carnal mind, father's side, it's a little on the, overwork side. That's the one that he's talking about. And that, the Lord would rather that these guys be, closer together, a little more evened out. Which is, why we have the constellation Libra, because this is the beginning of meditation, where you go into meditation to correct this problem. And you have to understand that what I just said was to correct it, to correct this problem. This is that idea of taking instruction. And so let's go a little further with this. Number 2, when pride cometh, then cometh shame. But with the lowly, it's wisdom. So the lower mind gets pride and shame. But the higher mind, when you hook it up, it brings wisdom. All right? It doesn't have it takes away some of these things from you. All right? The integrity of the upright shall guide them, but the perverseness of transgressors shall destroy them. And before I go any further on this, I want you to understand that the positive side of these stories is the spiritual side, the person that has created this balance within their mind. And the only way that you can create this balance within your mind is to do what you were instructed to do. And that would be to go into meditation and practice this diligently until you can read this Bible like me. all right, and can understand things, because knowledge is what you get out of this. It's not some kind of just light. It's knowledge. Well, not knowledge is light. The thing is that you're getting wisdom and knowledge, all right. 4, riches profit not on the day of wrath, but righteousness delivers from death. When we are packing around a grievous head wound, we're dead. We are brain dead. We are spiritually dead. That's what that means. And we are meant to try to correct the situation. And when we do this, it makes us righteous. And that word just means that we have connected to God. That's all it means. I mean, the right side of the brain, that word righteous, is that yes, we have now got God on our side. He's our counsel, and it's not just he or she, because we're so used to calling it a he. God becomes our counsel. God connects us. It's the stars that fall from heaven to earth. This is a joining up with God in heaven. This is a joining up. This is not about wrath coming down and kicking your ass, but this is what wrath means. This is the idea that riches don't profit anybody during the day of the wrath, and that's the last day, and that's the end of times for that person. And being rich doesn't do anything to you. He says, but being righteous will be the best thing that you do. For the righteous of the upright shall deliver them, but transgressors should be taken in their own naughtiness. And transgressors are those people that stomp all over and blaspheme the Lord. When a wicked man dieth, his expectation shall perish, and the hope of unjust men perishes too. The righteous is delivered out of trouble, and the wicked comes in his stead. An hypocrite with his mouth destroyeth his neighbor. That means to talk about religion, to believe in the letter side of this will take away your messenger, will take away the child in you. It's what comes out of your mouth is what's important here, what they're saying, okay? Because it's really silence that brings him about, and it's mouth that kills it, all right? So here we go. When it goeth well with the righteous, the city rejoices. And when the wicked perish, there is shouting. By the blessings of the upright, the city is exalted. The city is our higher mind in her, the lady. When the wicked perish, there is shouting. By this blessing of the upright, I said sorry about that. He that is void of wisdom despiseth his neighbor, but a man of understanding holdeth his peace. This is on number 12, which represents 3. So you would say that, this idea that if you're void of wisdom, you despise the neighbor, but a man of understanding holdeth his peace. A man of understanding has gone up and connected mom and dad together, which causes the state of Israel and that balance. Remember, the very first thing up here is that God looks for something he looks for a just weight. That is his delight. All right, he doesn't like this one side being more than the other. Oh, let's see here. Let's keep going. Let's skip down some here. These are all worlds, by the way. You should be reading this book. 1, 2, 3, 4 is one world, 2 worlds, and they will match themselves as the code works its way down. All right? A liberal soul shall be made fat, and he that watereth shall be watered also himself. The liberal soul is somebody who takes a literal stance with the word. That means you're being liberal. You're my people are liberal. That means that you're understanding things by what you see. He that withhold his corn, the people will curse him. But blessing shall be upon the head of him that selleth it. That's the person that goes into meditation. He that is diligently seeketh good procureth favor. Damn, that's some really hard words. He that diligently seeketh good procureth favor. But he that seeketh mischief, it shall come unto him. He that trusteth in his riches shall fall, but the righteous shall flourish as a branch. Remember, we are the branch. He that troubleth his own house shall inherit the wind. And the fool shall be servant to the wise of heart. I love it. The fruit of the righteous is a tree of life. And he that winneth souls is wise. This is 30. That's the tree of life is our chakra system. He who uses this makes a soul a wise soul. Behold, the righteous shall be recompensed in the earth, much more than wicked or the sinner, much more than the wicked. Recompense means we're being paid back. So something beautiful happens to us from all of our service when we were serving Father, when we were just serving Father, and we come back to life once we, shirk the bitch and get mom and dad connected. But this is just doing what the Bible tells us to do. We are meant to run one direction for a little while, and then out of all of those people that are going and learning about God and fearing God, does he wake a few people up? He calls on us. He calls on us from up high. This is this idea of the woman going to the high places in the city, or she's on the outside of the gate. So, well, listen, let's talk about this for a second. All right. We've learned within the last few chapters of this book that there's about this female, that there are two of them. There's one that's very gracious, and then there's one that you have to pay. There's the whore. And of course, a lot of people want to think that this is some kind of an anti-Christ type of thing. It is, but if you put yourself on the positive side of these things, you're making yourself out to be this false witness, so you think you got God, that you're connected to God, and you didn't do the works. So, this is considered to be some kind of bad thing for you to believe that you're connected to God. You may have some kind of weird thing that you're invincible or something like that. You might find, I can't be hurt. I belong to God. This is, that's not how that works. You can very much have all these troubles happen to you all over again. But, the thing is that what you would recognize is that these stories, when they tell you something, when you're following what comes out of God's mouth, remember, you're reading this, and someone has written this down, so you have to think of this as what was coming out of God's mouth. And so this is a very outside thing. But just like the vessels we are that carry the Spirit, the vessel of the Bible also carries the Spirit inside. So there's something that the way he is talking to us is revealing a code, revealing the truth behind things. And so you would see that when they introduced us to these girls in these chapters, there's one that is behind the gate, and she is she's in the city. She's at the gates of the city, and she is hollering out, waiting for someone to come. This is if you were listening to the story of the Song of Solomon, this is that gal, and her 7 little girls that come along with her. Those are her damsels, and they're not allowed to wake him up unless he pleads. So you would see that she is represent, and in the story with Jesus, when Jesus is taken into like a castle or something like that, and he was separated from his group, right? And he was led up there, and this is where he's being slapped on the head with the crown of thorns, and being covered in something, being pretend that he's some kind of a king, and this is what they're all making fun of him, and they smack him on the side of his face. But the story just before that is that as they went in there, Petra, the stone, had to get in there too. He has to get in there. And so what happens is he got to the gate and it was closed. And the woman from behind the gate had to come and let him in. And then they all sat around a fire warming their hands. Some beautiful talk. That's some beautiful conversation there. But he went to the gate. The gate is the sixth chakra. And so that's as far as he could get. And the woman had to let him in. All right. Just to get in there with Jesus. But you'll find that this is very telling in the story, is that this is an inside thing. When you're in spirit, you're on the inside. So this woman represents the spirit. She represents the higher mind, and this thing, the dove, and the what we call the Holy Ghost. This is the female side of our minds. And when she joins up with things are more brought level. And this is what we found out in this number 2 story, is that between the two of them, they like it to be even between them. And but we know for sure that God leaves us down here without him. That God together leaves us with only half of him, whenever it comes down to it. And then he gives us this other girl. And this other girl has been mentioned to us and told to us as the one that's on the sidewalk, the one that's outside on the door, outside of the door. That puts her on the outside. Do you understand? So we're getting beautiful symbolism just through the stories. If you tune your ear to it, you would know that one's an inside gal and one is an outside gal. So the inside gal is mother, the higher one, and the outside gal is the whore in the street. And that's what it means when we chase after her. We pour our silver we throw our silver into the street. And so it's a waste. It's a waste of our spiritual side of us to toss our silver like that into the street where we get nothing for it, And he tells us that, you're not going to go to no preacher's not going to be able to touch you and heal you of your pains. You're not going to be able to go into a church and go with a congregation of people and together everybody was going to, pray on you and fix you up. There's a certain thing that the outside world in the Bible is the enemy of God. Anyone and everyone who does not have God in them is an enemy of God, but a worshiper of Satan. And so the entire earth is set up because it belongs to Satan. It belongs to the lower mind. So there is not just one Satan or something like that. There are billions of us until we decide to correct the problem ourselves. There is no preacher that can connect mom and dad together. You have to do that yourself. There is no place that you can go on earth that will fix you. The story is that wherever the carcass lays, the eagles will find you. So you sit down someplace, anywhere, all alone, or to yourself in some way, and learn to shut off the world around you in some way of meditation and cut off and shut off, disconnect from the lower. And you will no longer have the lower anymore. It will be level. And this, like the scripture says here, will make you one of God's people. That's what it is. But until then, you belong to Satan, to Lucifer. You're just a crazy, unbridled animal. And enjoy yourself because you're supposed to. That's the whole point of it. All right? So anyways, that was number 11, chapter 2.